Section 1: The Hustler of Cleveland, Young John D. and His Unorthodox Upbringing. John Davison Rockefeller, the oil tycoon who would one day shape the landscape of American industry, had unexpectedly humble beginnings. Born in 1839 in upstate New York, his childhood was a study in contrasts. His father, William Rockefeller, was a flamboyant, big-talking salesman peddling dubious elixirs and dodging responsibility. This colorful patriarch was a stark contrast to his pious and disciplined wife, Eliza, who instilled in young John a strict code of ethics and a deep sense of religious devotion. While his father chased fleeting riches, John learned the value of hard work early on. At the age of 7, he was already raising turkeys and selling candy to neighbors. These early experiences instilled in him a sharp business acumen and an unwavering drive to succeed. John's childhood was a melting pot of conflicting influences. His father's risky ventures taught him the power of calculated risks, while his mother's unwavering morality tempered his ambition. It was this unique blend of street smarts and moral grounding that would define Rockefeller's future endeavors. He was a study in contradictions, a man who could drive a hard bargain but donate vast sums to charity. This duality would make him one of the most fascinating and controversial figures in American history. Little did anyone know that this seemingly ordinary boy from Cleveland would grow up to control one of the most powerful monopolies the world had ever seen. Section 2: Striking Oil, Rockefeller's first foray into the Black Gold Rush. The discovery of oil in Pennsylvania in 1859 set off a frenzy, a mad rush that would forever change the course of American industry. This discovery marked the beginning of a new era, an era where oil would become the lifeblood of industry, powering machines, lighting homes, and driving the engines of progress. The Black Gold Rush attracted fortune seekers from all walks of life, from seasoned businessmen to adventurous prospectors, all eager to strike it rich and carve out their own piece of the American dream. Amidst this chaos, a young John D. Rockefeller, with his keen business sense and sharp eye for opportunity, recognized the immense potential of this burgeoning industry. He saw beyond the immediate chaos and envisioned a future built on oil, not as a gamble, but as a calculated investment that could yield unprecedented returns. In 1863, at the age of 24, Rockefeller made his move. He invested in a small Cleveland oil refinery, a decision that would set the stage for his future empire. Unlike many wildcatters driven by the lure of quick profits, Rockefeller took a methodical approach. He was meticulous, strategic, and always thinking several steps ahead. He focused on efficiency, constantly seeking ways to refine oil faster, cheaper, and better than his competitors. He understood that in order to succeed, he needed to outpace and outsmart everyone else in the game. Rockefeller had a knack for spotting talent and building a loyal team. He knew that success was not a solitary pursuit, but a collective effort that required the best minds and the most dedicated workers. Under his leadership, Rockefeller's refinery thrived, quickly becoming one of the largest in Cleveland. His relentless drive and unwavering focus on efficiency paid off, setting him apart from his competitors. But Rockefeller was not content with just being one of many players in a booming market. He had bigger ambitions, a grand vision that extended far beyond mere participation. He envisioned a future where his company would not just participate in the oil industry, but dominate it. He saw the potential to create a monopoly, to control the market and dictate the terms of the industry. His ambition, however, was not fueled by greed alone. Rockefeller firmly believed that his relentless pursuit of efficiency and control was the only way to bring order to the chaotic oil industry. He saw himself as a stabilizing force, a visionary who could bring structure and predictability to an industry that was otherwise marked by volatility and uncertainty. Rockefeller saw himself not just as a businessman, but as a pioneer, a trailblazer laying the groundwork for a new era. He believed that his efforts would not only benefit his own company, but also contribute to the overall progress of society. His goal was not just to make money, but to build an empire that would stand the test of time, an empire that would be remembered for its innovation, efficiency, and impact on the world. And he would stop at nothing to achieve it. Rockefeller's relentless pursuit of his vision, his unwavering commitment to his goals, and his ability to see the bigger picture set him apart as one of the most influential figures in the history of the oil industry. His legacy is not just one of wealth and power, but of transformation. Rockefeller's first foray into the black gold rush was the beginning of a journey that would reshape the world, leaving an indelible mark on the landscape of American industry. Today, the impact of Rockefeller's vision and determination can still be seen in the modern oil industry. His principles of efficiency, control, and strategic thinking continue to influence how businesses operate and thrive. Rockefeller's story is a testament to the power of vision, ambition, and relentless pursuit of excellence. It serves as an inspiration to entrepreneurs and business leaders, reminding us that with the right mindset and approach, it is possible to turn dreams into reality and leave a lasting legacy. Section 3. The birth of a monopoly. Standard Oil takes center stage. In 1870, Rockefeller took a bold step that would change the face of American industry. He formed Standard Oil. This wasn't just another oil company, it was the beginning of a carefully orchestrated plan to consolidate the fragmented oil industry under his control. Rockefeller understood that true power lay not just in producing oil, but in controlling its transportation and refining. He masterfully negotiated preferential rates with railroads, giving him a significant cost advantage over his competitors. This strategy, while shrewd, was just the tip of the iceberg. Rockefeller was a master of horizontal integration, acquiring rival refineries and absorbing them into the Standard Oil fold. He understood that a fragmented industry was a vulnerable one, ripe for the taking by a player willing to play the long game. His tactics, while ruthless, were undeniably effective. Competitors who refused to sell were often driven out of business, unable to compete with Standard Oil's vast resources and cutthroat tactics. By the late 1870s, Standard Oil had a stranglehold on the American oil industry, controlling an estimated 90% of the market. This unprecedented dominance would make John D. Rockefeller one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the world. But it would also make him a lightning rod for controversy, sparking a fierce debate about the role of government in regulating monopolies and the very nature of American capitalism. Section 4. Survival of the Fittest. Rockefeller's ruthless business tactics. John D. Rockefeller was not a man who shied away from hardball tactics. He believed that in the cutthroat world of business, survival belonged to the fittest, and he played the game with unwavering resolve. One of his most potent weapons was predatory pricing. Standard Oil, thanks to its massive size and efficiency, could afford to sell oil at a loss, undercutting competitors and driving them out of business. Once the competition was eliminated, Standard Oil would raise prices, recouping its losses and enjoying a hefty profit. Another tactic was his use of spies and informants. Rockefeller understood the importance of information and had a vast network of agents gathering intelligence on his rivals. These agents infiltrated competitors' operations, uncovering trade secrets, and even sabotaging their efforts. Rockefeller's tactics, while effective, were often considered unethical and even illegal by his detractors. He was accused of bribery, espionage, and manipulating the market to his advantage. His defenders, however, argued that he was simply a shrewd businessman operating within the bounds of the law, albeit pushing those boundaries to their limits. Love him or hate him, there was no denying Rockefeller's genius. He understood the intricacies of the oil industry like no one else, and had an uncanny ability to anticipate market trends. His relentless pursuit of efficiency, coupled with his ruthless tactics, had transformed Standard Oil from a small Cleveland refinery into a behemoth, an empire built on oil and ambition. Section 5. The Price of Power, Legal Battles, and Public Outrage. Rockefeller's meteoric rise to power did not go unnoticed. As Standard Oil tightened its grip on the oil industry, public outcry grew louder. Critics denounced the company as a ruthless monopoly, accusing it of crushing small businesses, manipulating prices, and wielding undue influence over the government. Journalists and muckrakers published scathing exposés, portraying Rockefeller as a robber baron who had amassed his fortune on the backs of the working class. The most famous of these attacks came from Ida Tarbell, whose father had been driven out of business by Standard Oil's predatory practices. Her serialized exposé, The History of the Standard Oil Company, published in McClure's magazine, painted a damning portrait of Rockefeller's business practices, fueling public anger and prompting calls for government intervention. The government eventually took notice, launching a series of investigations into Standard Oil's business practices. In 1906, The U.S. Department of Justice filed an antitrust lawsuit against Standard Oil, accusing it of violating the Sherman Antitrust Act. The legal battle raged for years, with Rockefeller and his team of lawyers fiercely defending their empire. The case ultimately reached the Supreme Court, which in 1911 ruled against Standard Oil, finding it guilty of engaging in anti-competitive practices and ordering its breakup into 34 separate companies. The court's decision sent shockwaves through the business world, marking a turning point in American corporate history. It signaled that even the most powerful companies were not above the law and that the government had a role to play in regulating monopolies and protecting competition.